Here we are. We finally reached the end. Over half a year has been spent on this pointless endeavor, and for what? I've been asking myself that over and over again, and the answer I reach is to understand the fascinating mind of the creator of this piece of fiction. But is it really fiction? Because you can't read it without having to know about the reality. The reality known as Christian Weston Chandler. Christian Weston Chandler was born February 1982. At the age of 11, he won a Sonic the Hedgehog contest and was even shown on TV for this feat. My thesis is that this triggered something in Christian's mind. He'd been on TV before, and this made him hungry for more. So he wished to become popular, constantly throwing around his autism as an obstacle to overcome. He wished to become like an underdog hero who would overcome his sickness and rise up to become something great. However, due to this line of thought, he quickly started believing other people who didn't agree with him were supervillains out to get him, and that he was the superhero. Putting himself in his own comic only added fuel to the fire, as he slowly started distinguishing less and less with reality and his comic. He proved this on various occasions with things like dressing out as his own made-up character and doing his own made-up attacks, honestly believing them to work. Autism is a disorder of neural development characterized by impaired social interaction and communication, and by restricted and repetitive behavior. Yet Christian kept blaming many other things on this, such as his lack of empathy for the dead, distorted logic, and just acting crazy. Throughout this journey, a lot of autistic people have contacted me, letting me know that Christian was giving a bad name to all autistic people out there. They felt offended that Christian made the unknowing majority believe that this was a normal behavior for a person suffering autism. Christian in the meantime kept uploading movies, believing that everyone loved his work, that he had a small army of followers who would obey his every command, and would over and over be shocked by the negative response. Here, Christian showed another troubling psychological trait. He kept refusing to believe it was him who was in the wrong, and refused to take any criticism. Taking all criticism as insults and attacks to his person, he decided to go against the major public's words and wishes to do what he wanted. This led to him openly admit to certain things that should never have been neither admitted nor shown, such as very personal information and offensive beliefs. Christian over and over again would prove that in his mind he was no older than a child, knowing next to nothing about copyright laws and even human biology. On several occasions, he believed that major celebrities, such as the creator of Super Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, and the creator of various comedy shows on TV, Seth MacFarlane, were taking great interest in both his comic and his personal life, and would address them personally in his video logs. He also admitted on several occasions that all he knew about sex was from adult movies, which later led to movies and pictures of Christian being in a sexual act with himself flowing around on the internet. The one true goal in Christian's life seemed to be getting a girlfriend, or as he referred to them as, a boyfriend-free girl. By the aid of internet and pictures, along with distorted audio from bad microphones, Christian was several times contacted by what he believed to be girls who was dumbfounded by his comic and wanted to be with him. Due to Christian's desperate nature, people from all over the internet took great use of this to bully Christian, who would over and over again fall for the same trap. And here I am. Am I being a hypocrite? Am I also bullying this man by talking about his comic like I am, and using clips about him that he himself threw up on the internet? Am I a bully? I don't wish to be, but maybe it can't be avoided. I have on several occasions been confronted by people's disgust of me for using Christian and his comic as a source of comedy. I understand this disgust fully well. I feel it too. However, Christian's life is too entangled with his own comic to not touch Christian's life as well when reviewing it. So why am I doing it? Some kind of sick pleasure for bullying a bully victim? No. I think I understand. I understand why I'm doing this. It's so that no one else will ever have to go through this. No one before me has been stupid enough to sit through all of this and put their thoughts down for the public to see. That's why I must do this. So that no one will ever have to dive into this madness as much as I have. The comic critic Leandro didn't want to give this comic attention, and for good reason. The more people who know about this will suffer from it, and many will post comments to Christian about it that will make him suffer as well. I must break this endless cycle of suffering. Forgive me, Internet. Forgive me, Christian. Forgive me, Linkara. This is something I must do. For all of us. Last one, motherfuckers! Woo! Oh yeah! Let's do this! So this volume begins with Maggie-chan and Wild getting ready to extract Christian from the time void. Maggie-chan dives in and finds Christian pretty much just standing there waiting. Maggie-chan then explains how Christian's secretary Amber had put up some billboards and flyers wishing for Christian to come back. Because that'll help if the person is caught in an alternate dimension. So they bring Christian out of the time void, not really explaining how they managed to open the portal and why they didn't just do that to begin with. So anyway, I traveled to the year 2015. It looks about the same state as now. I took part in a medical study. While I was there, I met lovely Weta, or rather, she found me. She was married to my future self, and little Crystal was with her. Okay, that's disturbing on so many levels. Remember Christian's made-up favorite sister? Yeah, that's also how he wished for his own daughter to be. I was late getting home from work that night, so Lovely and I did the do, and it was awesome. We don't need to hear that, nor do we want to. So, Christian goes on to explaining how they in the future have managed to find the molecule that turns you gay, and that they found a cure for it. That's funny. I seem to have read in college that that's the same kind of batshit crazy train of thought that they believed in back when they still burned witches! Christian then goes on and on about how they in the future are gonna have a big enough supply of the gay cure to put in the water supply, and then orders Maggie-chan to travel into the future to collect said cure. He then, through Maggie-chan's telekinesis doesn't work that way! Orders his secretary Allison and Bill Murray to equip his transformer with a PlayStation 3 and put Guitar Hero 3 in it. He then explains to Patty that she should get the crystal balls, my 2 balls, ready for Sonichu to pick up, and then explains to Blake and Punchy that they should get to the 4-cent garbage building because their band would not be complete without them. Oh yes, their band! Their band! And whilst their bassist. You know, after this long time, it's rather weird that this is where it starts to get far-fetched. Christian then runs to his, I don't know, stronghold or whatever, to recover all his Sonichu shit to protect it from the nasty, pocket-sized trolls. Ooh, what a threat. So, Christian disposes of the trolls, and goes on to explain how all games should be kept to the age of E or T, even though he enjoyed playing Brutal Legend. Oh, fuck you! You've already ruined almost everything I hold dear that's not labeled with the mature logo, and now you're gonna take away games such as Prototype, Metal Gear, Fallout, and Saints Row away from me? Thin ice, Chris. Thin ice. So, Christian then teleports all his shit to his mayoral office, again without explaining how the fuck he's able to do that, and he then follows that up by blowing the entire thing up. Apparently Christian is running right into Jason's trap, you know, the guy who hosted that internet site. And then on the lower part of the page, we see a sack boy explaining how people should buy a PS3 instead of the other consoles. In other words, if you're one of those guys who own one console and claims that every other console is shit, you are on the same mental level as Christian. Think about it! So Christian is caught in a trap that is a cage held right above him. How the hell did he manage to miss that? Look how fucking huge it is! So Christian is then transformed back to normal as something is pointing at his medallion and pulls it off, and it's Satan. He takes the medallion in his hand, but nothing happens. What's wrong with this thing? I feel nothing. Maybe it'd help if you were actually holding it. I mean, look, where the fuck is it? Anyway, suddenly Christian's ring is shining. Oh hello, poorly executed Deus Ex Machina. Apparently his ring is magical, and he uses it to claim his medallion back from Satan, and is, for some odd reason, able to transform back to his Sonichu form without his medallion. So Christian hyperbeams Satan's, and the next thing we see is this guy. Apparently this guy is someone known as Jimmy Hill, who claimed to be the original creator of Sonichu. But enough of that, as Christian is sitting and meditating, just as he gets attacked by Nightster HC, and what follows is quite possibly the best fighting scene in the entire comic. I know it's a fucking low bar, but there's really an improvement in the terms of quality here. So much so that I'm rather certain that he didn't draw this himself, or maybe traced something. It all ends in a cross counter where Nightster HC seems to be the one better off. That's when Christian stabs him through the medallion with a syringe filled with his own blood. Also, he's stabbing him in the solar plexus. So yeah, Nightster HC is about as good as dead at this point. So Christian teleports Nightster HC to someone known as Kel, and Sonichu yells that they're all about ready. That's when Christian says, "Cool, the whole band is here. Let's get set up to kick out the jams." And like for Kratos against Ares, their end begins to rock. First of all, there's no trace of logic in that. Secondly, the fuck does Kratos and Ares have to do with rock music? Thirdly, Kratos knows no end. The man has died 3 times, and all it's done is increase the amount of dead people who are already living in the underworld and pissed off Kratos. So Sonichu finds Parappa the Rapper's hat and puts it on, and is suddenly made paper thin. So there's another trademark thing he's taking. While Christian grabs his Guitar Hero guitar. He snaps his fingers and finally fully erases the small gap that was between Christian's imaginary world and the real world. And that isn't funny. That's sad. Really fucking sad. I read horror books with a plot similar to this, and the author ended up killing 9 people before taking his own life. So he asked for his Autobot to transform, which it does, and puts on Guitar Hero, and we see the entire band play Revive Sordon. Now, I could read the text aloud, but instead I'd rather ask the all-important question, why? Why are they performing this song? What purpose does it serve? They've just been in the middle of a huge fucking war, where countless of people have died, and all Christian is doing is playing a concert about reviving a fictional character known as Sordon. Not something inspirational like, the war is over, or never gonna give you up. Wait!
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna move around and hurt you, never gonna make you cry, never say goodbye.
Inside the 4-cent garbage building where they were hosting the Sonichu porn, Jason is pulling the plug, wishing to escape. So he presses a button on his chair and flies off, leaving Clyde Cash, Satan and Thaddeus behind. Clyde Cash, I guess, asked Satan if Christian didn't just kill him. Yes, Christian killed me with his hyper beam, but where was I going to go? Detroit? No. This trolling gig is my hell, and after this building's crumbling fall, I will be ducked to aid the Count Garudon. I was main assistant for Adolf Hitler. Biggest mistake ever. right in the Führer's face. You, cried Cash and Thaddeus, for being homos. You both will have the minion devils gnawing and gnashing your ashes for all eternity. Not only for being homos, but for trolling and slandering and tarnishing an innocent man's good name, and further darkening your own kind's name among the view of not only Christian, but to everyone in the entire world. So what about you? They bullied him, which is apparently super bad, but you kind of tried to kill him. So Satan flees, leaving Clyde and Thaddeus to die on their own. That's when they choose a beautiful death, a suicide holding hands. That's when Christian hits the last string of his guitar, bringing the entire building down. We are then later explained how there were 1,500 people in the building, and only 500 of them were unhurt, and over 100 of them died on the spot, while the rest suffered wounds that ultimately led to their death. What a waste. Every last one of those people could have done a lot more with their lives. It's a little late to start feeling bad when you've single-handedly killed over 100 people, you fucking psycho! We then see various incidents where forcing garbage the building brought down were spying on Sonichu and Rosechu. One where Rosechu is putting in a tampon, and another one where Sonichu and Rosechu are in heavy bondage, and the last one with their child. Wow, he had the decency not to show anything sexual with the kid. We're improving here! So Maggie-chan pops forth and explaining how the gay cure was a success, and that by February the 24th, 2009, all gays will stop being gay. Having hardly finished this, Christian is suddenly contacted by Megan fucking Griffin. Why? She explains how she heard Christian's music and went to see what was going on, and to say how big a fan of Christian she is. Christian replies, "Oh, my God! Megan married Griffin? I loved you from your show, and you still look so hot and awesome." In case you've never watched Family Guy, allow me to point out that Megan is used as a running joke to be considered as the ugliest, most uninteresting person in the entire series. And she's apparently just Christian's type.
One nipple, Two nipples, Three nipples, oh hell no, I'm out of here.
So a guy comes up and, rightfully so, mistakes Megan for a man. Christian corrects him and is in response called Madam Chrissy, to which Christian replies, "I'm a man! I'm a man!" So even though Christian knows and has explained perfectly well that he will in the future have a lovely wife, he decides to make out with Megan, who I seem to recall is underaged. "You're a great kisser, and so big too. La 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 la, I can't hear you. La 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 la." After this, Christian, well, just listen. "I personally want to extend my apologies for offending a bunch of homosexual people and others with the past few pages. I have stated time after time, again and again, that I, Christian Weston Chandler, am and always have been a straight man, and unless stated otherwise of a few, the majority of my characters, including Sonichu and Rosechu, are all straight too. Finally, I have drilled those facts into y'all's thick skull successfully. While I do feel the success, I feel remorse because of a decrease in fan support. Regardless of y'all's own race, orientation, lovers, or hate and trollers, I would probably ended this early book free, without tour support and all. You all are what you all are, and I am a heterosexual, and I deeply apologize for offending y'all. Please do not leave me. I will draw and write what I appropriately will." You know how I said that I would not talk bad about Christian? Well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to make an exception, because I feel that Christian has overstepped the boundary, and so I will too. Note that this will be a rare thing, because this is not what the webcomic relief is about. But Christian, go fuck yourself, will you? You spend not one, not two, but several issues of your shitty ass comic to explain how homosexuality is wrong, and that you clearly believe that being gay is a disease. You said that all gays will go to hell. You made people die in the comic for no other reason than being gay. You can't backpedal like this. After going as far as saying being gay is wrong and killing off gays and go, you're free to be what you want to because that's clearly not what you think. Your opinion is shit at this point. You're doing this because you're scared of taking a stand of your opinion because you're losing fans. There is nothing wrong with being gay. Your logic is flawed, you're a shallow-minded man, and you should grow the fuck up!
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So Christian and Sonichu uses the crystal balls to transform into Ultra Sonichu and Action Hank.
Action Hank, we've been combing the area for you. We cornered a rugged band of flower smugglers down at the waterfront, but we need your help. Over.
Well, actually, officer, I realized the ruggedity of my new appendage is quite overwhelming, but I'm afraid I'm not who you think I am.
I knew we could count on you, Hank. Let's roll.
So Christian flies to the mall to help his daughter's sister thingy out of the mirror, and Sonichu helps Darkbine's girlfriend who apparently was in a coma. You know how it goes. Had we been told about it, it'd probably be a little more interesting. So Sonichu and Christian flies to Minnesota to the house of Alec Benson Leary. If you've been as stupid as me and done just a little research on Sonichu, you won't have been able to avoid the name Asperchu, which is a parody of Sonichu made by Alec Benson Leary. It's pretty much just a spoof on Christian. Anyway, Christian hacks into Alec's computer with the words, "As I expected, his computer is a Microsoft." Little did Christian know that so was his computer. Christian fries everything on Alec's computer as Sonichu ventures into his room. This place is a mess. Please pay no attention to the picture I'm currently showing. Think of it as a pausing screen before we move on. This is absolutely, completely unrelated to what we had just heard. So, outside we see the gang from the Asperger comic who more or less treats Sonichu as a deity. Again, not a Christian, but I believe there's something about worshipping a false deity. Now, there's a fuck ton of text here that I'm just gonna jump over, but that's until we reach Asperger who says, and I quote, "We never wanted aspergers. We never wanted to look stupid, gross and retarded." So he's more or less saying that people with Asperger's look stupid, gross and retarded. You know, why don't I have someone who has Asperger's tell you what he feels about that?
Hi guys and girls. Ryza asked me if I could tell a bit about Asperger's since I got it myself. We're not ugly, we're not dumb, we're not disgusting, we're not fucked up in any way like Chris and Weston Chandler says. We're normal people, but we do have special needs. Like, I'm going to need to, I write everything down. I got a great memory, and that's kind of my special thing about being an Asperger. So I think that you should start read up about it, and if you see someone with Asperger's or hear about somebody who has Asperger's, don't be afraid of them. Embrace them. Be friends with them instead of just hating them or think that they're weird.
So Sonichu heals the Sonichus with Asperger's, and yes, this also makes them look better and seemingly more socially acceptable. Christian then comes out and everyone kneels in front of them. "Oh, listen y'all, I'm not a god, but a servant of him and Jesus like the rest of you. The first commandment reads, 'Thou shalt have no other gods before him.' But I appreciate the gesture." Yet he's so fucking butthurt about gays being against Christian. Sorry. Not gonna go into that again. So hey, a robot shows up and is dealt with before Christian opens a gap in the comic to do some more backpedaling, which I, because I'm a nice guy, won't go into depth with. Back in Quebecville, everyone is talking about how Alec is a dick and how they don't understand why people seem to think his art is superior to Christian's. Just no, Christian. Just no. So we move in to see how Sonichu saves Rose True prostitutes. He's then interrupted by some Jamaican dude who is offering him some weed. Psst! Dude! This seems totally legit! Go for it! After contacting the cops to deal with the Jamaican, Sonichu flies up on some tall building to break the brainwash that was put on the jerk-ups. Then we move to Christian, who's going to do his final confrontation with Merrily Walls, and so he finds forth his...
Help! We need an adult! We need an adult! Christian is officially molesting the copyright laws! Help!
I mean, of all things, I gotta admit I didn't expect to see Kratos' blades from God of War and Sonichu, but fuck me, there they are. So they fight, and in an interesting turn of events, Merrily Walsh is the victor. Yeah, you don't bite it, I can tell. No, Christian of course wins, and we then move on to Kiwickville's shopping center, where Christian is holding some kind of speech, pretty much just talking down to every troll who had offended him up to now. He also explains how someone named Evan had originally given him permission to use Simonla, but had then later withdrawn that permission. Yeah, I'm not a law studying kind of guy, but I'm pretty sure that means you're forced to remove Simonla from your comic. Which he then does by blowing her up with a wall top. Well, that's one way of doing it. Rather rough, if I may say so myself. They of course rush Simonla off to the hospital, as Wilde is left in the waiting room with his and Simonla's egg. And just as Wilde is told that they have found Simonla's murderer, the egg hatches. He calls the little girl Sandy, who immediately asks for her mommy, even though in earlier issues it was established that English was something that had to be taught. Wilde then shows how great a father he is. Evan killed mommy! And even Maggie Chan is shocked by this. Dude, not even my dad was that cruel. And he tells everyone I was conceived doing revenge sex. So we then get explained how Wilde took care of Sandy as a lonely father, and then move on to the Kiwickville court, where court is in session for 4 of the trolls who trolled Christian the most. Safe to say, their trial is pretty one-sided, and the defense lawyer isn't exactly Phoenix Wright. So one of them is electrocuted.
Dude, what the fuck? I've been a bully victim myself, but I've never... Dude! Uncool!
Another one is chained to the wall in front of Sandy and Wilde, who explains, Sandy, you may deal as much damage to Evan as you want, but we kill him together.
And then after we've killed the guy, we'll go out for smoothies! Yeah! Kill him! Fucking kill him, you little shit!
And she does. The little baby girl takes what looks like a shaving razor and cuts the guy up, and even seems to cut off his dick. And so Sandy and Wilde share a lovely father and daughter moment as they stand hand in hand together and kills the guy.
God, not even Sonichu porn was this sick.
The third guy is strapped to the ceiling with chains by his wrists and is used as target practice, and look, more little girls who can have their childhood ruined for all of eternity.
This is sick! We've skipped some levels here. Before it was fun and games and cartoon violence. This is fucking murder!
And the last one is having all of his limbs broken and his heart forced out of his chest. And what then follows is Christian finishing the comic as it's been all the way up to this point. One big ego-rubbing monologue. Sonichu fans from here will join others from around the world, and you will be witnessing the largest personal image change in history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have a new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore.
No! You publicly executed 4 people just now! You don't get to say that!
We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is Mexico's Flag Day and will once again be saluting an image of freedom. Not just from trolling, loneliness, or persecution, but also from heartbreak. We are fighting for our rights to love. To be honest, and when the sun sets today, the 24th of February will no longer be known as only a Mexican holiday, but as the day Sonichu fans and I declared in one voice. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We are going to survive. Today we celebrate our Christian Love Day. And with that, the comic ends. I did it. I did it. I fucking did it. This comic is the worst fucking horseshit I've ever seen in my entire life! The art is childish, the story is all over the place, the characters change at the tip of a hat, the dialogue is clunky and full of shit that is not needed in any way. A lot of the story makes no sense unless you've digged into Christian's personal life because of his obsessive self-absorbed self-insertion in the comic. If the story isn't offensive, it's boring, stupid, and directly scary. Fuck Sonichu! Fuck Sonichu, its universe, its characters, and everything that is related to this steaming pile of self-absorbed dick cheese! What it all boils down to is that Christian doesn't need people to bully him. What he needs is help. This man has been bullied for long enough. Encouraging this style of living for much longer can quite possibly end horribly. I may come across as a hypocrite for you, and hell, maybe I am. But there's no reason for you to bully this guy any further. And that's why I ask you, yes, you who have been watching me through this countless of episodes, struggling to keep myself sane, to not hate Christian, but pity him. He doesn't want to offend you. He just doesn't know any better. Me? I've crossed a chapter. I've finished one journey that began with a single step. So now I can venture forward, knowing I've done my part for the internet so they won't have to suffer like I have. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next Webcomic Belief. Take care. Till season 2, bitches.